Rambam quoted the Gemara that the world to come, and as is explained, we're not talking about the ultimate existence, which is when in the 8,000th year, where the world will be recreated, where it'll be body and soul. We're speaking about the holding pattern when a person passes away, where he goes, and what the soul experiences during this period of time till the world is recreated in the 8,000th year. He explains that the person, a human being, has a soul, what we call the neshama, and you have a nefesh. The nefesh is the component of the person, the spiritual component, that gives you the ability to appreciate and process within the spiritual realm whatever you're experiencing there, based on your levels of accomplishment that you succeed in the physical world. As we have senses in the physical life, we have senses, we have intelligence, which processes physical information. We have a nefesh, which is the life source, which allows us to relate that spiritual environment, to appreciate who Hashem is. But that's only the capacity. The extent of that is to the degree that you actually succeeded in the physical life due to your positive choices. That's what the Rambam explained. Okay? The Kama Shemus Nikrolo, Derech Moshe, chapter 8, number 4. The world to come, this holding pattern, is referred to, has many appellations. Derech Moshe, Har Hashem, God's mountain. Mokom Kocho, his holy location. Derech HaKodesh, the path of holiness. Chatzos Hashem, God's courtyards. Noam Hashem, the pleasantness of Hashem. Ol Hashem, the tent of Heichel Hashem, the sanctuary of Hashem. Beis Hashem, the house of God. Shar Hashem, the gate of God. V'chom korlo derech moshel l'tov v'zu muzumenes tzadikim suda. Chazal, the rabbis of Talmud, refer to this as the ultimate meal, the meal that the tzaddikim will partake of. What is a meal? In Hebrew, we have a person on the Zoom here, he speaks Hebrew. Even though he comes from where he was born, it was in Hungary, but he picked up Hebrew pretty quickly in the kibbutz. The word su'udah, to be so aid, means to sate. You become sated. So therefore, the Chazal, the rabbis, they refer to the world to come, this holding pattern, where you bask in the God's radiance. That's called Su'udah. What is Su'udah? Su'udah means you become sated due to the food you ingest. You become sated due to what you are worthy to receive based on your capacity. The Koran law, but the generic term for that location is called the world to come. That's the soul world, where that's a holding pattern. It's called Olam Haba, the world to come. We live in this world. The world to come is that, but it's not specifically the world to come. It's a generic term, the world to come.
Rabbi?
The prophet prophesizes. The prophecy is not through the faculty of the brain, it's directly to the soul. Therefore, when a prophet is given information, sometimes he's given information that if you go through the natural channel to accumulate information, it could take 200 years to be able to accumulate that amount of information. But because it's directly to the soul, which is a spiritual entity, and there's no such thing as limitation, a prophet is able to amass an amount of knowledge in moments, which takes hundreds of years to amass. Okay? So the Ramchal writes that what Moshe Rabbeinu, when any prophet prophesizes, the fact that's communicated to him is at a level of clarity that through the human faculty, there's nothing comparable to that clarity. Even if you see a person in face to face, it could be somebody you know your whole life. The clarity of the information that's given to a prophet surpasses even that level of clarity. It's such a level of absoluteness that you can't describe what it is unless you're a prophet to receive that level of information through that process of directly to the soul. So Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to know, to understand God to a greater degree. God showed him Kesher Shel Tefillin, the back of the knot of Tefillin. It means that somehow reveals some aspect of God to give him an insight. And once he had that insight, you have that, it's like etched in his soul forever at a level of understanding. Nobody else has that level of understanding.
When God communicates with a prophet through his soul, which soul is it? Is it his spiritual soul, or is it his ability to take in stuff? I'm sorry.
Directly into the soul, into the soul. Yeah. It's like, you have a computer and you put information in the computer. You can put information which, to accumulate that amount of knowledge, it may take 1,000 years, but it has a capacity that literally on something no larger than a thumbnail, you can put on millions of pieces of information. That's a semblance of what prophecy is to the prophet. Hanekoma shein nekoma gedoli mimeno. Nekoma is usually revenge, but means vengefulness, which is nothing compared to this vengefulness. Shetikores hanefesh, that the nefesh will be cut off, from its spiritual source. Lo siske lo osnachayim. That means it will never merit that life, the eternal life that we spoke. You will be bound up in the bond of life, which is God, is that bond of life. Shenema hikoris tikoris hanefesh ahi avonabo. That soul will be cut off because it carries the sin. The sin itself causes that detachment and doesn't allow that soul to have a relation with God, because that sin putrefied it, abominated it, and brought it to a point that it cannot have relevance to God any longer. Zeivodun hu shekorin oso anavim derech moshol be'er shachas. And this is the term which the Nevi'im, the prophets, refer to as Be'er Shachas. That's what the Gehenim has 7 levels. Be'er Shachas is the deepest level. Be'er is a wellspring. Shachas, the lowest level of this. Vivodon. Ivod means total obliteration. The Tifte. Tifte comes from seduction, because what's the basis for all sin? Seduction. Person seduced. Aluka. Aluka is a leech. What does a leech do? It sucks the life, the blood out of a living creature. Choloshin kloyo v'hashchosa. All expressions of consuming, of destruction, koran lo, they refer to this spiritual hell. Lefi shehi hakloyo shein achrei tekuma. The hefsid shein achos l'olam. It's a level of destruction and annihilation, which there's no coming back after that. The hefsid, and a diminishment which will never be recovered, can never be reinstated. It's eternal destruction. There's no basis even that it should actually be regenerated. It's gone forever. Now the Rambam addresses something interesting. We're speaking about the ultimate. Let's say a person can live a physical life, eats, drinks, not subject to illness, and he has beautiful women that he can engage in sexual immersion continuously without any negative consequence. Person says, something. If I had that, I don't need more than that. Right? If a person would say that, how do you convince him to say, if I have all the good in this world, I don't need the world to come? What do the Arabs say? I don't know how many virgins they have waiting for them, wherever it may be. No.
70.
70. You counted. Okay.
I think it might be 70. I've heard 72, but who knows?
Okay. So here the Rambam writes, maybe you're going to minimize the goodness of the world to come, and you take it lightly. He says, there's no such thing as reward for doing the right thing. And a human being, you're considered complete, b'darki emes, ela lioso, ocho v'shosa, b'cholas tovos. The ultimate reward is to eat quality food, where there's no negative side to it. Obol tzuras nos, and to engage in cohabitation with beautiful forms, beautiful women. V'lovish b'gdei rikmo, and wearing ornate garments made of linen and embroidery, v'shochet b'ali shein, and to live in palaces made of shein, of ivory, u'mishtamish b'kli kesef v'zov, and to have vessels made of gold and silver, udvorim hadomim leilu, damin elu ha'arvim hatipshim, as the foolish Arabs consider that's what their world to come is. Larry, you have it there, the translation? Rambam understood what an Arab was all about. They haven't changed. Harvim hatipshim, ha'avilim, hashtuf mizimo. They're avilim, they're evil, stooped in promiscuity, immersed in promiscuity. Nothing has changed. But the Chachomim and those of understanding know the Hevel, it's all concepts of Havoy means nonsense, foolishness, and vanity. They bem toelis, and ultimately they have no value. To live like an animal. It's interesting. An animal has no worries. As long as it's within its own habitat, doesn't have a worry in the world. No. You go to a veterinarian, he gives you a recommendation, what kind of dog food you should feed your dog, with all the nutrients and the proteins and everything in it. And, he gets his inoculations. The dog, is the happiest creature in the world. God could have, if this was the purpose of creation, God could have created a person exactly without intelligence. You have no worry, you have no concerns. He puts you in a setting and everything is perfect. If that is the ultimate, to eat, drink, and be involved with women and be immersed in material and this exaggerated level, why create this sophisticated being with a soul and an intelligence and all this kind of thing? It would have been the best interest of the human being to tone it down and be a simple, ordinary creature, no different than the unintelligent creature, any living species. So Chachamim understood this is all a bunch of nonsense, of foolishness and vainness, and it's something which has no innate value. It's purely in the material context. This all emanates from the evil. This emanates from the tree of knowledge, the evil of the tree of knowledge, where the person is dictated by his desire, satisfying desire, That's what it's about. The world to come we speak of is not satisfying desire. It's have a relationship with the eternal being, with an infinite being. Okay, we're going to stop here. I'll just have some comments and we'll leave it for next week.